Hey everybody, it is Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern, which means it's time for the Maverick Show. Thanks everybody for joining in, whether you're listening to a replay, or you're live in chat on Discord, or you're watching the streams on MSC Waves, or Vim, or Theta. I think that's all of them. But yeah, you could be watching the replay on YouTube, you could be listening on Spotify or the Google Podcast system. I'm still have not been approved like months later for the iTunes platform, and I don't know why. I upload everything through Anchor FM, and it's supposed to auto request everything, and everything worked fine except for iTunes. So I don't know if anybody knows how to fix that. Let me know, because I just don't. I don't know anything about podcasting except for just recording them and then uploading them, which you can probably tell by the studio setup. So if you're watching the stream, you'll see that my background behind me is kind of fading in and out with the green screen. My lighting situation is okay, but it's not great, which is why it's depending on the day, the green screen background sometimes works better than others because it depends on how much light is coming in through the window, and versus how dim it is and all that kind of stuff. So that is the story there. But it's been another week, another exciting week in the Splinterlands world. I just want to hit my usual housekeeping stuff. Remember there's Deck 101 and Deck 404. Deck 101 is your easy sale service where we buy cards at 101% of burn rate. If you're selling for less than 10% over burn, you might as well just send it to Deck 101. It's instant, and you're not paying any market fees or anything. So you'll end up with more, and it'll be done. That's the big thing. So if you're right at 10%, you might make a little bit more, but you'll be sitting around waiting for who knows how long. And meanwhile, the price of Dark Energy crystals is going up and down. If you burn them, obviously we'll pay you more, and so it's kind of like a hybrid, best of both worlds sort of thing for those cards that you just want to get paid on quickly. Deck 404 is our account sharing service where a player comes in and a card owner comes in. Card owner delegates to one of our accounts. Player gets access to one of our accounts, goes ahead and plays. Rewards are then liquidated and then split 50-50. I've gotten a couple questions about that with packs. So the way the packs work, so if you have 1% probability of getting a pack reward in your loot chests, and so if you get 100 rewards, then chances are on average you'll get one pack. So because packs are not splittable, what happens is we wait for you to have two basically, or an even number, and then it'll split 50-50 between the player and the owner. So somebody was asking this week if packs were opened and then the cards were split, but no, the packs are kept intact, and just one goes to the owner, one goes to the player. So I hope that clears that up. There is exciting stuff on the Deck 101 entity front that's coming, but it's not going to be coming for a couple months. So my partner Gerber here has asked me to not dive into that. I'm just going to say you're going to like it. So it's I'm actually really excited about the things we have planned. So I think everybody else will be too, and it's gonna shift things around quite a bit, I think, because I think we're going to take our learnings from other things and apply them in a new way to Splinterlands that has not been done before. So that's my teaser announcement, I guess. But again, later it's going to be a couple months before everything is ready to go. So that, I believe, is all my announcement and pre-announcement stuff. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Trump Biden game is still going on. You can check that with the election command. It's been weird right now. So the cell walls are all gone. Those have been gone since election day, and so the total amount in the game is now fixed, and all trading is peer to peer. So anybody who thinks the ultimate hedge situation happens, and nobody neither. Yaba showed up. Who thinks neither Trump nor Biden get sworn in, That's the nobody token. So for every one of those you hold, you would win 38.67 Hive. And yeah, so that's a big, a big upside. The Bidens are going for each one of those that you hold, you win 1.72, and they're trading, it looks like, at 1.5 right now. If Trump wins, then each Trump wins holder is going to get paid 2.54, and those are trading at point 0.2 right now. So Rondon says, that I sold him all of my tokens. That is true. I sold all my Trump wins to Rondon on the Hive Engine market at that point 0.2 price. So I had 100 of them. A lot of people think I'm making tons of money off this game, and that is it's not the case. I actually spent like $50 setting up all these tokens. But yeah, so I had 100 Trump wins and I had 30 nobody tokens, and I sold the Trump wins, and now I still have the nobody tokens just in case. I think there's a non-zero chance that Biden wins, but then Kamala takes him out before he gets sworn in, and or he retires for quote unquote health reasons. That is, like I said, a non-zero probability. So I think that's prudent to hold. Yeah, so other things in the crypto world that are going on. Wrapped Leo is back alive. That's doing really well, and we're actually going to get into that a bit on this show because of some of the things that Yaba mentioned on the AMA this past Friday, which I heard, I think most of at least. So let's go ahead and jump into that, and then we'll check on lands and we'll check on the markets and all that kind of stuff. So so Yaba and aggroed had their AMA on the 20th, I think it was, whatever that Friday was. And they mentioned a couple really interesting things. So, my recap is not like a complete summary. It's just the things I found interesting. So a couple things that were commented on. So one is that people have been asking, if lands require monsters to work on them, or at least will benefit from monsters working on them, what does that look like? So we learned two really important things. So one is that they have pretty much decided that if your monsters or summoners are working the land, they will not be available in battle. So, it's, like basically delegating a card. You lose it for playing purposes. And that the number of summoners and monsters could be anywhere from like 2 per plot up to maybe 5 per plot, and that will probably, this is my interpretation, that will probably depend on what kind of buildings you have and the rarity level of the plot itself. So if you hit like a legendary plot of whatever type, then maybe that accommodates 5. So a summoner and 4 monsters. Or if it's a common, maybe it's only 2, maybe 1 summoner, 1 monster, or 2 monsters, or something like that. So that is really interesting because and it's going to depend on the numbers involved. And obviously, Yaba and aggroed do a lot of work to try to balance the economy for for overall increases, basically. But that's going to take a lot of a lot of monsters and a lot of summoners, and especially if you're leveling those monsters and summoners to go onto the plots, then that's just a lot of BCX. Yaba says that I would be proud of his spreadsheet, and I would be. Aggroed told me once it takes him 2 minutes to actually open the spreadsheet for Splinterlands that Yaba has created, and that's kind of like my Splinterlands sheet. It takes a good 60 seconds to open. So I think that's going to be very interesting because when we look at the peak monsters, and if you can see it on the stream. Let's just pick something that's super common, right? Like the Untamed is the current edition. Apparently Chaos Legion is what's going to be coming next. And then, but let's just say when lands launch, we're still in Untamed because it'll be comparable. So if we look at, commons, those should be pretty common, right? So let's look at those and just picking kind of middle of the road. Let's say Giant Scorpion. Giant Scorpion is going for 3 cents and change, and there's 508 cards available right now. So we got that guy. And if we go to the bulk calculator, then let's see. So we know we have at least one max because the table is actually filled out on peak monsters. So let's say if we get 800. So yes, we can get 800 cards. That'll take we can get 800 BCX. That'll take 330 cards. So can we get 1200? So that'll take no. So we cannot even get 3 max level giant scorpions out of the market right now because there's just not enough cards available. So there's what 240 something different cards, between all different editions, and obviously the really high value ones probably will not be so widely used for lands. One, because there's not that many of them. Like there's only so many alpha gold foil cards of all types going around. But also, those values will probably be recognized better in other ways. So it's going to be the things that are available, and just random card here. There's 2.5 max level cards available. So how will that leveling work into the benefits of placing them on the land? All that math is going to impact what people are actually going to do. So we do know that when everything's said and done, there's going to be 150,000 plots, and that's going to take, let's say, there's different types of lands. So there's the dungeons, and then there's the different terrain types, and so let's say not every plot requires monsters or summoners, and let's say 60% do, and then let's say if it's between 2 and 5, let's say the average is 2, right? So how many does that make? So we got 150,000 times 60% times 2 cards. And Banjo says that's 180,000. Is that right? 180,000. I need commas, people. 180,000 cards. And what BCX level will that be? Crypto Reaper bought all the scorpions a few days ago, apparently. About 200 of them. But I mean, you can check other cards. The story's the same. It's anywhere from like 1 to 3 are available in terms of max level BCX, but it's not a lot. So 180,000 cards required to fully populate lands. Obviously, it's not going to be all at once, but fundamentally, I think there just aren't enough cards around to support that at any decent level of card. And what that means is that demand is going to increase and prices are going to go up. So if we look at the pack calculator, here we go. We can see that. Let's do 500. I'm so glad Peak Monsters implemented this, so I don't have to do it by hand anymore. Let's paste. Come on. Screen grab, paste. There we go. Sometimes I have to do it twice, and I don't know why. So right now with potions, the cost per pack is $1.74 if you do the max 500 plus 75 bonus. And then if we assume potions are free, because we get them in rewards, and then we're able to open them all with working with various people, then you're looking at spending $1.74, and expected value per pack is $1.41. So that's a 33 cent difference. And that's again assuming the potions are free, which may or may not be the case. That has to change fundamentally. So if lands come out and are used, and the economics of placing the monsters on the lands in order to increase productivity or whatever it is, whatever the mechanic is, and the math is somewhat balanced, then prices of cards just in general have to rise, as far as I'm concerned. And that's assuming that we don't have any great user growth between here and there, which hopefully we will. And that's assuming that it's just basically the current people who are playing who are increasing their holdings in order to maximize their productivity. So one thing to look at that I did want to touch on was Dow's had a post. He's really great with the stats posts. Business in the room. Let's see if I can find. Here we go. He has new active Hive accounts by DApp and activity. So let's see if this will open. Hive has just been slow as anything lately. So he went ahead and looked at number of new accounts created per day and who created those accounts. So this is really, really interesting. So apparently They Call Me Dan has created 25% of all the new accounts on Hive. 3Speak another 25%. Steam Monster is 11.6%. So that is a good chunk. Does he have the total in here? Let's see, number of accounts created. It's like 150 a day, something like that on average. In the last period, it's been an average of 100 a day. Overall, I'm not going to add all that up on the top of my head. But most of those are not active. And yeah, Yaba's point that they only create accounts now for people who buy the Summoner Spellbook. That is also a factor. So number of accounts by activity, you can see that not active is most of them. JSONs is 800, 850, something like that. Post and JSON is 400, and then post and other combinations. So you got to figure that most of those JSON only posts are Splinterlands accounts. And then post and JSON are probably mostly Splinterlands accounts. Maybe there's some 3Speak in there. And so I figure a ballpark, 1,000 new accounts have been added to the Hive blockchain that are active based on Splinterlands activity, somewhere in that ballpark. And if we look at Hive data, let's see if that is actually true. So I think it's true, but let's check the data. Let's go back to June. Okay. And users. So, from that time period, I would say easily, 1,000 active accounts of there, because, at the beginning of this period, we're down at 4786, and now we're averaging around just, bumping up against 6,000, and with spikes above that on season end days. So yeah, I think that's a reasonable estimation that Splinterlands, since Hive launched, has brought in 1,000 active users that are actually using the game and the blockchain in general. So, considering where we started from, that's 23% growth. Not bad for pretty organic outreach. Now, obviously, Yaba and aggroed have said that they are starting to flip that switch of internal development versus external outreach. Shifting more resources into the external outreach now that they feel that things are ready. And part of that is the mobile app. So here is the listing that went live yesterday or today or something. Recently, anyway. So that's the listing. It's for Google Play Store, nothing on Apple yet. And there's the post, which actually I haven't even read. So app versus mobile website, next steps. Next priority for mobile development is an iOS app to be submitted to Apple iTunes Store. Still a good bit of work to do to finish that integration. And yeah, so immediately people started complaining, which is what everybody does, right? So if you're looking at the screen, you can see that already we've got 36 reviews, and average is 4.8. Yeah, 4.8. So that's pretty good. Some of the complaints in the reviews. Let's see if there was a 1-star one. Here's a 2-star. It was saying that to unlock true potential, daily quests and rewards, buying in the market, etc., you need to unlock the Summoner Spellbook by buying it for $10. Also, you need to be very geeky with card games to understand this one. Poor tutorial explanation and not newbie friendly. Giving 2 stars, as has good design, music, and high level of details. So I think from a random person, I think that's fair, actually. So Obviously, I've not gone through personally the new player tutorial, but it needs work according to this person. To unlock the full thing, you got to buy the spell book. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that is that is part of the deal. So I think two might be a little harsh, but I think it's fair. So those are things that definitely need to be worked on. Tutorial isn't in mobile yet, so maybe this person's talking out their ass. I don't know. But yeah, so we got obviously plenty of fans here. Best game on blockchain, Mix Ethereum, Magic the Gathering, and Little Clash of Clans, and you owned your own cards. Infinity X22 on the game. Come challenge me. But there was one. Let's see. This one I liked. Love this game. No more worrying about dropping money on digital cards since you own them and can resell every individual card you own on the marketplace. This is the future. Thank you, blockchain games. And that's obviously the thing, right? You have to say maybe they're saying there isn't a tutorial. That could be, but I don't know. So obviously the people who get it, and love it, and then the people who don't obviously need some help, need some help bringing people in. And Quantum Nachos was in Discord today talking about, it's like, well, the logo kind of sucks, and we don't have good movies and whatever else, and that's all true. So I think there's definitely room to improve the optimization of the listing. So I have iPhones, so I don't have any Google Play access. But I imagine that having good graphics and videos and optimized listings and all that kind of stuff will be beneficial. So, but it's super exciting that the app is in the App Store or in the Google Play Store and is available for random people to find, and that is going to be, I think, a major marketing channel. So I'm very excited. Crypto Reapers told me to download BlueStacks. Is that an emulator or something? I don't know. Then you can play the app on PC. Yeah, I'm okay. I don't really need to play it. I play every morning. Or just wait a bit working on iOS. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not too concerned. I have the mobile website on my phone, and I've got. And I play in desktop anyway because the mobile website is pretty hard for me to use just because I'm so used to the desktop. So that's typically the way I do everything. So like in the morning, I've got a morning tab where it's got Spinnerlands, it's got Hive Engine, it's got Peak Monsters, it's got DeFi Box. So those are just all things I check in the morning because I'm, in Deck 101, I'm checking balances to make sure that we're not running low on funds, we're still liquid, see how much, we made in the past day. And, DeFi Box is a EOS DeFi platform where I'm adding liquidity to EOS versus USDT, and I have to make sure I claim my governance tokens and all that kind of stuff. Crypto Reaper says, yeah, then we can all leave reviews at the very least, and you only plays on desktop or with code. Okay. Fancy. So, I don't really need, me personally, I don't really need the mobile app so desperately. It's a marketing channel for new users. That's my interest in it. Because, like I've been saying for however long the show's been going on, it's all about user growth. Because if we just stay the same, well, now we're up to 6,000 accounts, and let's say that's 4,000 individuals, then that's going to atrophy and die over time. So we need fresh blood, we need excitement, and part of that, of course, is the general attitude on crypto stuff, cryptocurrencies, crypto assets, and all that kind of stuff. So today was a great day for Bitcoin. We're looking at the daily chart here, and we are edging closer and closer to all-time highs. So high today, and this is, did it not take again? High today was 19.4 something, 19.469, and this is again based on Coinbase. All-time high, if we go way back, is 19.898, I think. See if I can find the right day. No. Let me zoom in. Was it this day? 19892 on Coinbase. So, we are pretty close. Now, today it ran up and it retraced a bit. If you want to look at the closer time frame, this is a 5-minute chart. So, Swoop is here. Thank God. Now we can all relax. We were all eagerly on the edge of our sheets trying to figure out if Swoop was going to show up or not. So yeah, you can see it reached a high and then bounced around, ended up retreating a bit. So that is all to the good. But I'm starting to see, like in financial press, I'm starting to see more crypto articles. XRP is up. They've got an airdrop coming for their version of Ethereum killer. Ethereum itself has funded their sharding whatever platform contract, and so apparently Ethereum 2.0 will be going live on December 1st, which is I think a week from today. Yeah, it is a week from today. So maybe we'll know something on the next show as to how that's all going, because given the experiences on Hive of hard forks, sometimes they break. Sometimes they're still kind of broken weeks and weeks later. So hopefully the guys running the show over at Ethereum have tested things enough. I mean, it's been like 4 or 5 years in development. So hopefully they have tested enough that there won't be any major hiccups, because, so much value is stored on Ethereum. Not just the market cap of the blockchain, but all the ERC20s, all the liquidity pools, all the apps like Uniswap and SushiSwap and all that kind of stuff. So they have, billions and billions of reasons to adequately test and make sure everything works and there's no major problems like chain splits like we saw a week or two ago, or just, things breaking. Yabba's got to run. Have a good one. Listen to the replay. It's always good. We got a lot of people who listen to the replay. I get messages from people who are upset when I'm slow to post replay. So, all my Australian friends are eagerly awaiting. So I will try to get that up as quickly as possible. If I have some time today, which is like 50-50 shot, I'll upload it right after the show. Otherwise, hopefully I'll get to it tomorrow. So Ethereum, they've got lots of reasons to make sure everything works, and hopefully it does. So we will find out next week. And I don't know if it'll be in time for the show or not, but we'll check it out. So if that ends up happening successfully and delivers on their promises, that means gas fees should go down, but like substantially, because they're talking about this first version is going to be 64 times capacity. So if fees reduced by 64 times, you got to figure demand will go up, so it won't be exactly 64, but if we cut it by 10, by a factor of 10, that's significant. So if you're in the dark energy crystal pool on Uniswap, entering or exiting the pool or swapping into or out of the pool, at a good time is like $1.50 per transaction. So at a bad time could be like $100. So, cutting that range down by a factor of 10 is great. So now we're talking 15 cents to $10 instead of $1.50 to $100. And Crypto says that he may be able to remove liquidity from Uni without crying. That is true. It's a long-term play, and it's a whale game right now because of those gas fees. So, as gas fees reduce, more and smaller accounts can get into those kinds of things and take advantage of them. So that brings me back around to the AMA, actually, because one of the really interesting things that Yaba said on the AMA was the idea of having liquidity pools for resources, and they'll all be dark energy crystal markets. So basically, there's going to be like, crafting stuff like stone and wood and crystal essences of the various splinters and all those kinds of things. So, there needs to be some trading built around that. And doing that all into swap.hive and then back out through Hive Engine would suck. So what they're planning to do is to create in-game liquidity pools. I'm not 100% sure they'll be in-game or not, but liquidity pools. So you'll have a stone versus dark energy crystal pool. You'll have a wood versus dark energy crystal pool, and they'll work like the pools rather than bid and ask spreads. And I think that's great. That's a way to provide maximum liquidity for those resources, and then any of these liquidity pool platforms like Uniswap or DeFi Box or Curve or whatever, they can do multi-leg transactions so that if you have stone and you need wood, in what to you is one step, you can go from stone to deck to wood, and it just takes care of everything automatically on the back end. So I think that'll be fantastic, and that also incentivizes people to develop those resources on their plots in order to earn fees on the trading. Uh, and Biz is advertising his pool or his I don't know what you would call it. He got one of his regions and he got a guaranteed region and is selling those to small players for cost, basically. So yeah, liquidity pools for land resources is, I think, a fantastic idea, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then another thing they talked about was the roadmap for lands development. So first thing is going to be in first half of next year will be the map is released and players can redeem their tokens. And then after that, we'll be making buildings, harvesting resources. After that, we'll be crafting items and spells, and then after that, a battle system being implemented. And that battle system will be interesting. So one thing they said they were kicking around was cards getting attributes, and that could be lots of different things. But then those attributes would be impacted by items and spells. So that's kind of the whole situation. Now, they did give a timeline beyond that first one, first half 2021 for the map and redeeming tokens. So you got to figure it'll be a while. I'm still confident in saying Christmas 2021 as, at least, no later than Christmas 2021. I think this will all be implemented. So, we'll see. But I'm pretty... I feel safe in that guess. And as far as lands go, pre-sale number 2 is happening in 3 hours or 3 days, 18 hours, 26 minutes, and 12 seconds, 10 seconds, 9 seconds. But if we go to the shop, you can see that 9 guaranteed regions have been reserved, and I'm one of those. So there's 8 others, and then total entries for plots for the lottery is 3,267, which is actually a good chunk. So, there's 23 guaranteed regions available, and I don't think we're going to see all 23 taken. But so, we're going to see minimum 7,000 plots, available, and up to, at this point, up to 21,000 plots available. So if it's 7,000, then we're already halfway to being sold out. If it's 21,000, then we've got a ways. But again, we got a little under 4 days, 3.75 days from this recording to get to the pre-sale lottery. So obviously, the later it goes, more people will join in, and it'll be interesting to see because the first one sold out instantly. Obviously, there was many hurt feelings over that, but there's still plenty of dark energy crystals in the Uniswap pool. So if we go over to what is it, Bot HQ? If we go over there, let's do some Uniswap. Actually, I can just do that in our channel here, but too late. I've already moved. So we've got $342,000 of liquidity in the dark energy crystal pool. So 50,000 of that is the Splinterlands team. That's not going anywhere, but that still leaves 292,000. So there's plenty of capacity there to absorb all of these plots, because I figure the cheapest it'll be is each region is 9 million. So 9, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 times, so 13 have already been sold, so that leaves 27. So that is 243 million. That would take up the entire phase 2 of the pre-sale. So let's go ahead and go over to Uniswap and see. Normally I do it in Firefox, which is kind of a problem here. Let's see, Uniswap.info. See if I can paste it into the chat, because I'm not going to be able to show it or add it as a source because it's too hard. Here we go. So this is the pair. You can go to there and see it. See if I can bring it up on Brave here. I can't trade on Brave because MetaMask and my Brave just doesn't get along. So there's 186 million Dark Energy crystals in the pool right now, and we would need 243 million at a minimum in order to sell out. So that is kind of interesting. There's not enough there to absorb all of pre-sale number 2. Let's take a look at the rich list from Banjo. Come on, Banjo. All right, so Steam Edge has a bunch. Crypto Eater has, what is that, 4 million? 4.6 million. Peak Pool has 2 regions ready to go, so they're locked and loaded, ready to go. I know in their Discord, people are still sending in amounts to reserve their tracks as part of that. Chandpur has 1.7. Token Converter has 1.7. I think Token Converter is the DSwap platform. Digital Fortress has got 1.5. So yeah, and who knows who's holding what inside the game, because that's where obviously the majority of the Dark Energy crystals are held. They're only spendable in the market if they're in your in-game wallet. So yeah, I mean the Dark Energy crystals are out there, and whether they will be used for pre-sale number 2, we'll find out on Saturday. It's I think it was a weird day to pick. There's pros and cons because this Thursday is American Thanksgiving. A lot of the players are American, plenty of others too, but a good chunk. And so it's a holiday weekend. So will people be around because they're hanging out with family, possibly with COVID and all that kind of stuff, but also they're also not working. So maybe that's a good thing. And similarly, Digicon is coming this weekend, which will be interesting. So if you haven't checked this out, check out that post. 11/28/2020, which is this Saturday, and it is starting at what time? Starting at morning virtual when November 28th. Does it have a time? I don't see a time. Is Carrie Allen here? I guess she's not. 12 p.m. Eastern. That's the time it starts. So Digicon is built on this virtual reality avatar platform where you can run around and interact with it's like a virtual conference where there's different rooms and there's going to be different booths. And from what I understand, that Splinterlands is obviously organizing the whole thing and will be a major feature there. But there's also going to be all kinds of other vendors and things there. So for the users, it's free, which is great. And I think that it'll be cool to check out. And then once it's up, I guess it's going to be live, always. So it'll be like 24/7. And I think that's pretty cool. I know I've talked to aggroed in the past, and he's said that they may have speakers from different platforms and different applications or companies over time who are, talking about their whatever, whether it's investment or join our game or check out our service. But then, those will be isolated events, and then, you go in and you can interact with the different companies and doing everything on an ad hoc basis. So I think it's going to be cool. I don't have any VR goggles. You don't need them from what I understand. But might be better. I've looked at the HTC Vive like a number of times, and I've never pulled the trigger. So I don't know. I'm definitely not getting the Oculus because I'm not getting a Facebook product. But on my wish list, maybe for my next birthday, I'll buy myself a VR headset. But we'll see. If any of you guys have experience with those, let me know if it's worth. Because really, what I want to do is I want to do like VR sword fighting, But then I have to actually get my kids' crap off the floor to make enough room. So that's an issue because I don't want to be stumbling around and tripping over scooters and stuff. But yeah, so anyway, I don't know exactly what Digicon's going to look like, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. And let me know if you guys are excited, interested, or anything in that, or if not. But yeah, so we covered the AMA, we covered Digicon, we covered the mobile app. So the next thing to look at is the market. So let's talk dark energy crystal prices. Let's see, DEC USD, both. You would think I had memorized these commands by now, but you never know. Come on, Gerbot. There we go. So you can see that we ramped up to par value, which is 1,000 splintoshis for dark energy crystals into the land sale or land pre-sale number 1, and then we retreated back to about 80. And then it's bouncing around. Now we're up at 90 again. So I think we will see a similar kind of run up. So I mean, right now we are at 90 or 910 splintoshis. So there's about 10% upside there. And I think we'll hit that. So if anybody's speculating on the dark energy crystal market, there's I think come 4 days from now, I think you'll do all right. Obviously, this is not financial advice because I'm not your financial advisor. But so easy 10%, I think, upside. Afterwards, I think again we'll see a retreat or retracement, and each land sale one after the other is going to have less and less demand. So it's my gut feeling is we will sell out of this round, pre-sale number 2. But pre-sale number 3 is going to be tough unless they do some major marketing between here and there, which is possible. But I think the existing user base is kind of, I just get the gut feeling based on how much has been placed in the lottery already, and based on chat I'm seeing in the Discord. I think we're kind of reaching. We're not at exhaustion yet, but we're getting there. So I think pre-sale number 3 would probably be. Half sold if that ends up being the case. I've got my guaranteed region, and that's certainly enough for me. That took all my dark energy crystal basically. But I make with operating all my deck 404 accounts and everything, I make, I don't know, 200,000, 300,000 a season, something like that. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we're looking at. But if we look at the market for individual cards, there's a couple different ways to do that, actually. Let's look at Monster Market and Peak Monsters. So Monster Market has a really cool tool where you have a cost estimator. So if you look at, you want to build a new account to play or to rent out to somebody, you can kind of get an idea of how much that'll cost. So Untamed and Rewards, and if we do everything except for Fire, for Silver Deck, and we exclude Legendary Summoners, and exclude Legendaries even, calculate cost, so $280. So that kind of gives you a global level number. And I say that because, that kind of number a couple months ago was 200. So, that's gone up like 50%. And then if we look at individual cards, again, looking at just regular Untamed, let's look at some rares. Elven Mystic's a good one. Let's look at the month, and then we can see where'd it go? Nope. Did I miss it? There we go. So you can see on this card, a fair bit of volume. Price has, bounced around a little bit. Let's look at Truth Speaker. Truth Speaker's up over the last month, or the last 4 weeks. And if we get into summoners, I'm sure. Pyre's been pretty steady. That's surprising. So, yeah, I mean, prices are, kind of steady to up. And if we go to SM Voter Hut, we can look at the market cap. Yeah, I'd say that's in line with that. We've had a nice little bump going into the end of October there, and it's been kind of bouncing around a little bit, but fairly steady. And I'm actually pretty happy with that. What you don't want to see is kind of what happened in that previous peak, going back to, I guess that's June or something. That might have been the Untamed launch. I'm not sure. But you don't want to see a spike and then a pullback all the way, because that just doesn't feel good for anybody. But we've gone through that dark time, and everything is looking pretty good. I mean, cards are selling. So like in Deck 101, a couple days ago, we had a lot of sales. We sold like 3 or 4 gold foil legendaries, and a bunch of epics sold. So what I do in Deck 101 is I track like how much value in cards do we have, how much burn value do we have there, so US dollar and Dark Energy Crystal, and then how much we have on hand, and so I can see the changes over time of how many cards have been converted into Dark Energy Crystals, either through burning or through sales. And we've seen a bunch of activity over the past little while. So people seem to be gearing up for something. And I think what it is the lands expansion. So it's not going to be live for a long time, but it's there just aren't enough cards to go around in order to make your lands productive, to the extent that they could be. And given the level of competition that we're seeing in the leaderboards for packs, then I think the top players who are in the running for those are going to be using items and spells heavily. So you got to figure the top 100 in Champion and the top 75 in Diamond at least are going to be going for high level items and spells. And from what I understand, those items and spells NFTs are also going to be combinable and levelable in the same way that the monsters and summoners are. So the bottom line there is that it's going to take a lot. And we'll see how the mechanics all work out, but basically the net result of all that is that Dark Energy Crystals are going to get scarcer and scarcer, because the more people are playing, the more people are competing, the less battle inflation is per person or per account is created there. So I think long term, we might very well see Dark Energy Crystal prices well above par value at 1,000 Splintoshis. So, I mentioned this last week, I think, where, you have to look at the burn values of cards in terms of what comes in a pack. So I did a little bit of math, and it comes out where, basically the maximum potential price of Dark Energy Crystals is going to be somewhere around 4,000 Splintoshis there. And that's because once you get above that, then it's actually more profitable to buy packs and then burn everything and then sell the Dark Energy Crystals. So there's that market arbitrage that's in there. So will we get there? My gut feeling is no, but because anytime we go above the par value, even we see people just burning cheap cards. But eventually that will run out, because as the demand for cards increases, the prices will increase above their burn rates, and then it won't be profitable to buy those and burn them anymore. But until that happens, anytime it gets above par, the burning commences and brings the value of Dark Energy Crystals back down. But once we get to that next phase, I think we'll see some increases, some nice increases, up to potentially that 3,000 or 4,000 level. But once you get above that, there's no chance, because it's just more economical to buy the packs as fast as you can and then burn them all. So that is the upper cap. But we'll see. Sometimes crazy stuff happens. In fact, Swoop says he's going to buy all of Claiborne's art and burn them. It's very mean, but I mean, you could. Once you buy it, I guess it's yours to do with. I've actually never gone on NFT showroom really, and I've never bought any art. I don't really. Just art is just not my thing. I think it's because I'm colorblind, and I just never. I don't get the same appreciation that other people do. But yeah. So another fun thing that's in the works is the prediction markets that's coming in a couple weeks. I don't have any good deadlines for that, but from what the group is saying, alpha version is going to be out in a short while. Let's call it that. And you could do things like you could speculate on the price of dark energy crystals, where it's like, okay, by 12/31, I think the price of dark energy crystals will be, X, over, over or under, and people will be able to put their crypto on the line for that. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a pretty cool system now that DSwap is working. That is another thing you guys might want to know. I don't know if anybody saw that. Let's see. dswap.trade. There we go. So this is in, I guess, alpha version, where you can go to, where am I looking? I don't want market maker. Get started, market maker. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong site. Can I predict anything? You can predict anything where somebody could find an answer to. So if you want to say the Eagles are going to win on Sunday, or if you want to say that the price of Bitcoin is going to be above a certain amount on a certain date, then yeah, that is all doable. Let's see. I know aggroed had a post here. Let's see. Splinterlands, Farmer, DSwap Market Takers is live. Alpha. Here we go. qa.dswap. All right. So this is the correct URL for the alpha version of the swapping facility. So you could swap from dark energy crystals to, to Leo, let's say. Say I want to convert 5,000 dark energy crystals. Then apparently I can get approximately 16 Leo, which is pretty cool. So, this is one more step that this was critical for the prediction market, but also just one more step for adding liquidity to everything on the Hive ecosystem. Because going through swap, I mean, all this does actually is goes through Hive Engine or LeoSwap or LeoDex rather. And it trades for swap.hive, and then takes that swap.hive and trades for whatever your other thing is. But doing this for you in one to the user transaction is so much better. And yes, it is a market taker and not a market maker, and so you are going to get potentially a worse price. But the convenience, I think, is just completely worth it. So that's just my view on it. So, it's another step in the or another development in the puzzle, of all the different pieces that have to go together in order to make all this stuff work. And this kind of functionality is what I expect to see with the liquidity pools on the lands resources. So you put in, instead of dark energy crystals, you put in stone, and instead of Leo, you put in wood, and then you would just trade. And part of the problem with Hive Engine is a lack of depth just in general, and it's chicken and egg, right? So you need liquidity in order to get the transaction volume, and you need transaction volume in order to entice the liquidity. But liquidity pools do a good job of solving that, because you're not competing against others in a bid-ask spread. Everybody's in the pool, and all what you're really competing against is the individual assets, whether they will rise or fall. So Swoop is saying he predicts that Rondon will have a stroke before 2022. So there is going to be a time limit on the prediction market events. So I think the furthest out, last I heard anyway, the furthest out you could place a market is 3 months. So you got to do that. So you could say, will Biden have a stroke before Inauguration Day? You could make that market, but 2022 is a bit too far out. So yeah, so I'm a huge fan of the liquidity pools just in general as an approach. I think it solves a lot of problems that traditional bid-ask markets have. So I'm all in favor, all around, whether it's hive engine assets or cryptocurrencies themselves, or the game assets. And the people who are in the pools are incentivized by earning fees. So I think it's a win for everybody all around. Paying on Uniswap it's 0.3% standard trade in terms of fees. I think that's perfectly reasonable. But we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm just very excited about the economics of the land's stuff. So that is kind of the story for this week. What other things do we want to hit before we go? Because we only have a couple minutes left. In fact, I should bring up my clock here. So we've got about 2.5 minutes remaining. Did I miss any questions? No, not very much. Biz is usually Chatterbox, but not just advertising, just shilling his minnow pool right now. Yeah, so one thing to keep an eye on, just in general, is the Splinterlands multimedia, or not multimedia, social media. You can tell how old I am. Social media stuff. So if we look at the account, Splinterlands. So can you plug your Twitter? Sure, you can play you can plug your Twitter. Let me see if I can find the social media challenge. So these posts are, I believe, weekly, and I recommend you check them out. They're doing a bunch of stuff. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Publish 0x, Publish Ox, however you want to pronounce it. It gets a good fun stuff. Like, check this one out. I don't know who Alex HMVL Venezuela is, but that's awesome. That Saber Shark, image. I assume that's original. But we got a Torhilo the Frozen artwork. We've got people sharing battles, people sharing posts and everything. So it's great to engage with all these things on these other platforms, because again, it's just more people talking about things, more people see those people talking about things. It's another marketing channel, and it's all about the user growth. So it's important to keep in mind. So like in I'm heavily involved in Leo Finance, and we had one alpha came in and just knocked everybody's socks off with how much he put into the pools and everything. He's an Ethereum whale, and nobody knew that going into it. He's just a new user. So you never know who you will find on these various platforms when you're talking about all these Flutter stuff. So go ahead and battle, trade, make posts, share them to Twitter, to Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. And it can only be good for the game. Is the bottom line. So users. Anyway, that does it for us for this week, and hopefully next week we'll talk about Ethereum either failing or not, and how that impacts things like the Dark Energy Crystal pool on Uniswap. But we'll see you next time.